All right, everyone, we're going to roll into our next media availability. We are going to talk about two drivers that are paired together for the in-season challenge. We have Ty Dillon, driver of the number 10 Colleague Racing Chevrolet, and Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. If you have a question, raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you. We'll start in the front with Bob and then go over here to the left.
Bob Parkhurst, Fox Sports. I have a question for Denny. I'm curious, Bubba has had this crazy year of like top fives and then 20th or 30th, then just the last couple of weeks, a couple of runner-ups and something outside the top 20. I'm just curious, what do you have to tell him anything to keep his head up, or is he at the point in his career where he's able to handle the ups and downs?
I mean, I think that at this point of your career, you certainly can regulate that. It's kind of part of the sport and whatnot. But the biggest thing is always just focusing on what you can control. Sometimes if you get caught in wrecks, after like a pit penalty or something, then that's not bad luck. That's you just kind of put yourself in a really bad spot, or the team puts you in a bad spot. So you always have to just self-reflect on what you can improve, and you have to be happy with the result. As long as you do the best of your ability, the team does the best of theirs. Yeah, there's certain aspects of luck that can, change your results on any given week. But over the big sample size, you're going to get a bigger picture of kind of where you stand. And, on speed, it seems like that team is very capable week in, week out of being a top 5 on speed team. Execution, has been a little bit of an issue, but overall, I don't think we definitely don't question Bubba's ability to go out and get the most out of what that car is capable of.
Go to Jeff.
I'm not used to joint press conference here, but are we supposed to treat this like a UFC weigh-in? Like, do you guys have any trash talk? Who's got the edge here?
I don't know about that, but it's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, if I'm on the same press conference with him, means something good. So I'm just glad to be a part of this in-season challenge again. And it's ironic we're going up against each other in the first round again, so it'll be fun.
Yeah. Refuse to put us on a standard oval.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But I certainly feel, our car's got a lot of speed in it, obviously. And so, anything can happen on these things. Strategy can get mixed up, all kinds of different things, right? But, it's 2 battles, right? I've got this one. I'm kind of chasing Tyler a little bit. So, certainly I feel as though go get the best finish that I can for myself. Wherever it nets out, it nets out. But it's I love the in-season tournament. It's obviously something we talked about on the podcast a few years ago. NASCAR made it happen, and then certainly I think that the types of tracks that we have this time around, not starting with a speedway, certainly will be a little bit more indicative of kind of guys moving on that you would expect. But it's a road course. Still, anything can happen.
I assume that every driver is at least aware of who they're matched up against.
Of course.
But I would assume that unless it's like maybe a few laps to go, you're not going to do anything crazy to get that position from somebody. Like you're probably going to just let it play out. But if they're like ahead of you or behind you or something, then maybe somebody does something. But other than that, it probably doesn't come into effect. Is that fair?
I mean, I think that there'll be battles for 16th that matter. I mean, that normally no one would ever care about. So that's what the beauty of the kind of the bracket system head-to-head is, right? Is that you're creating these storylines and matchups that are like, okay, it's 1v1 here. So I think that that's where the gain of it is. But from like how does the race change? I don't know. I think that we personally will just call the race to get the best finish possible. And then see where that nets out. But unless, we're just terrible, and then you maybe try some different strategy and stuff. So I don't know. I think you just kind of start the race thinking, what does it take to win? And then play your strategy from there.
Yeah, I think for us, last year, what we did, I mean, outside of the first round, Denny was knocked out pretty early, is just try to run our race, be us. And, our hope was when it came down to the last restart, we were within a row of the guy in front of me that I needed to get. And I think I was 3 for 3 in that opportunity as far as passing them and executing, getting to the next round. And that's what we're going to look for this weekend. Like, obviously, I mean, what has this guy done this year? He's won 3 in a row, and they're kicking butt. If they put together a perfect weekend, it's going to be a challenge for us to keep up. But, our goal is to be the best version of us, and that's execute every single phase. And if they make one mistake, be there to attack. And that's the way we're going to approach this weekend, is just try to do our best and be there when the opportunity comes. And I think of all racetracks outside of probably the Super Speedway, this one gives us a shot to do that. So it's going to be fun. Certainly you don't want to do anything dumb early in a race, or, that just, takes disrespect and doesn't really take talent to wipe somebody out just to get to the next round of the in-season tournament. But if it comes down to last lap, definitely going to try to do my best to get one spot.
Right up here in the front.
Hey, so KUCU 916 Sacramento. So, Tinny, great question for you is, driver development, you see it, their kids are getting younger and younger and younger. As we see, we got a 15-year-old, I believe, on track yesterday. How do you monitor that talent? And then still, where do you put them? Does other classes, kind of if you put them in truck or put them in O'Reilly, do they help train them to get in a Cup car now?
Yes and no. It's two-part. I think that you learn how to race. I think you can learn racecraft. I think you can learn the racetracks, but learning how to get specific speed out of a next-gen car, doesn't relate to truck or O'Reilly's. I mean, I think certainly kind of the trucks are a little bit more indicative of what we have than the O'Reilly series. But still, the opportunity really comes from getting on some of these tracks that most of these drivers have only driven in short tracks when they're that young. So getting introduced to big racetracks and tracks that you will see in the Cup Series is a big advantage, because a lot of times when you come in, it's, I just can speak for when I did it, it was overwhelming to just try to learn a racetrack in a weekend, much less get fast at it.
And as being an experienced driver, as those young guys make mistakes on the track, does it frustrate the experienced driver now?
No, that's when we can capitalize. That's the advantage. So that's what makes racing what it is. That's why I'm out there running against kids that I've been in the sport. I've been in Cup longer than they've been alive. So that's the mix that makes it exciting, is that you got contrasting styles and contrasting experience levels.
Great, thank you.
We'll go to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. Ty, what was it like to having bragging rights in the Dillon house? Because, usually the little brother is kind of in the shadow of the bigger brother, but, you kind of knocked it out of the park last year.
That was nice. I mean, anytime I can beat him, it always feels better. No matter where we're at, we always kind of keep that. But no, he was happy for us last year, just kind of getting the recognition. I was happy for our whole race team and our sponsors. We put in a lot of effort each week, and our story doesn't always get told. But that's been the beauty of the in-season challenge, is we take a break kind of in the middle of the season where it's not always focused on the top 5 or the top 5 in points, or but it's focused on the teams like ours who are grinding. And on most weeks, we beat 1 or 2 or 3 of the back end of the mega teams each week, and that's pretty solid for us. And if we do things right, we really have an opportunity at some places that are unique, like a road course race or a super speedway. And so it was great that our story got told, not only for myself and being able to show a little bit of personality, but for our sponsors, and that there's a lot of effort that goes in behind that, and then our race team too at college. So yeah, it was cool that I feel like I had a leg up on my brother, which always feels good. But for our race team, that was what I was more proud of.
Speaking of your race team, A.J. Allmendinger will make his 500 start this weekend. He's always been self-deprecating, but can you explain to those of us on the outside what his contributions have been to colleague racing over time?
Yeah, AJ is probably my favorite teammate I've worked with. I think first meeting AJ, he's a pretty intense guy, but he's kind of checking you, and I feel like over the year, he's realized that I want to work as hard as he does, and he is an absolute grinder, hard worker, puts so much effort into it. His consistency and his prep for each weekend has made me better, even after doing it for a while. And the guy, you put him in any situation, he's going to get the most of it. Whether he's mad about it, he might complain about it, but college racing kind of has embodied is AJ's spirit over the years, and he's been such a good teammate, and he's helped me so far in these road courses come a long way, and it's become one of my strengths, I feel like, in the circuit, just because of his openness. I think once he saw my willingness to work as hard as he will, him and I's friendship and teammate growth has just gone to the next level. And every single weekend, like, our teams work really well together, and we come to the racetrack with the same car, same setup, and we work from that point. And it's been a really eye-opening thing for me. And when you have two teammates that are pretty open and vulnerable with each other about what they need to get better and the things that they need to work on their cars, it's helped our whole program. I think if you look at college racing's trajectory since him and I have worked together and our teams have worked together, it's really been good, even against circumstances, even this year where we don't have the same amount of support and help. We're maybe even having a better year than we did last year at this point. So I think that's just a lot of good communication and hard work and being selfless behind the track.
We'll go to in the back.
Brian Twining, Bleacher Nation for Brett Sports Media. Ty, you've actually bested Denny here in the 3 races in the next gen era that you guys have both been on track, but you're considered the underdog at Sportsbook. So I guess my question is, do you have any special memes or social media posts planned in case you do actually defeat Denny? And for both of you, is there any like friendly side wagers or like stuff you have going on behind the scenes surrounding this matchup?
I think behind the scenes, our daughters are best friends, so they're probably more invested in this than maybe anybody. But no, the past records don't really mean anything for this weekend. Maybe the fact that he's won so many races this year and kicking butt, but no, it's going to be a fun battle. Like I said, I'm really comfortable around here, and hopefully we're there to just put pressure on him. That's all we want to do.
Yeah, it's I mean, anything can happen, right? It's I think that if you look at kind of how the thing is set up, right, is that you got a low seed and a super high seed. But the great thing about that is that the high seed can knock out the low seed, and he now has the easiest path to the finals. So that's what I love about the tournament and how it's all set up. But it's you just never know. And I mean, obviously, big sample size. That's the computers run numbers and they come up with what's right. But yeah, I 0 for 3. It's believable. I don't know that it's a huge accomplishment, but it's believable. And but there's lots of circumstances. I think I've had blown motors here. I've had a wreck, and then one time I think we pitted at the end of the race just trying to catch a caution, and we gave up a team finish for a 28th because we just wanted to catch a caution. So certainly I don't think we would do that this time if it was to put us behind the 10. But when he knocked me out last year, I became the biggest Ty Dillon fan. So I certainly I love their story and certainly have a ton of respect for him. And like you said, our daughters are best friends. So it's I'm sure they're the ones that are going to be competing as much as what we will.
We'll take 2 final questions in the middle.
Denny, Bill Sessa from Napa Valley Register. You're chasing Tyler for a championship that I know you desperately would like to win too, but he's driving for a team you own. How is your role different, car owner versus driver, and how is it different at the shop, and how is it different on the racetrack?
Well, I'm just more involved, I think, overall. I mean, on the competition side, they're very similar. The work that I put in as a driver versus the work that I put in helping them is about the same. The difference is like I'm in all the other meetings that, the 2311 drivers don't care about, the marketing, the sponsorship, all the other stuff. So that's where that job takes on a much bigger role than what I do as a driver. And it's also why it makes it more gratifying when that team wins, because I know I actually had a bigger hand in that result than I do if I just do a great job driving the 11 car this weekend. So it's super unique. I understand the importance of trying to get the regular season. I mean, that's a 50-point swing. I mean, that's an entire race. When you look at like the gap from first to second, well, if you either start 25 behind or you start 25 ahead, that's a big deal. So it's certainly an interesting time, and we have some interesting tracks too that really could shake things up. But it's certainly something that I'm putting, we've put a lot of effort in getting back in the race for it to this point.
Danny Peters, front stretch. Danny, you went to the World Cup game on Thursday. How was your experience? Have you been following the tournament in general?
In general, yes. It was my first experience going to a game. I mean, I obviously, I'm a bandwagon, type of playoff. I watch playoff hockey. I don't watch regular season. I watch playoff baseball. I don't watch regular season. So I'm that type of sports fan anyway. But it was grossly underrated, the atmosphere that you get at a World Cup game on TV versus being there in person, and it was just it was absolutely amazing to experience it. So yeah, it's something I would love to do again. I don't know how the schedules line up over the next few weeks or so, but I certainly will try to go to another one, kind of regardless of who's playing, because I hear that, going to the USA games are awesome, but like going to somewhere the fans are like really, really passionate could make it even a better experience. So I'm looking forward to going to another one.
All right, thank you both. Wednesday they're playing in Santa Clara. Wednesday USA is playing in Santa Clara.